Well, would you, Adam and Eve it? Guess who's back again? It's the old bronze bomber, baby. And yes, although boxing hasn't been too kind to him lately, he sounds like he's got a little bit more fire in the belly, judging by his latest interview with Ariel Hella Banana.
And know that a lot of things happen to a lot of us, the best of us. But that don't mean give up. That don't mean quit. I'm not throwing in my white flag because there's no surrendering. I die for what I believe in. And that's crossed my heart. You understand? That's right there branded inside of me. So no matter how many times I may fail, understand as many times I may fail, it's gonna be the equal times I get my ass up. Because on one of those try, it's gonna come through for me. I'm gonna be successful. And when I look back, I'm like, man, damn, if I would have gave up, I would have never known the strength in this. If I would have gave up, I would have never known how much resilience I have in myself. If I would have gave up, I would never know how to persevere into a hard situation, especially when they're dealing with a worldwide stage.
Oh, yes, Bronzy baby. Talking like the bomb squad of old. He's got some lead back in his pencil, the boy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a bit of his usual fucking waffle in there as well.
The many things that I've said, I tell people I haven't lied about nothing that I've said. Anything that I've said has been my truth. And if it's my truth, then they said the truth shall set you free. So that means I sleep good every fucking night because I've let my truth. Now, many times people will take my truth and they'll dissect it and they say, oh, that's an excuse. Well, if my truth is your excuse, then that's up on you because I've told you the truth. Now, you can take it and you can dissect it and you can display it any type of way that you want. You can chop it up and you can come out and make whatever you want. But I've told you my truth and you want to make it your excuse, then it's so be it. Be happy with it.
Yeah. Exactly. Well said. I mean, he could have been speaking fucking Mandarin there. I'm fucked if I know what he meant. But anyway, in terms of the old boxing talk, he did perk Arian drums up when he said this.
Do you already know who the next fight is? Is that already a done deal?
You could say so. We got things going on. I don't know the opponent yet. It'll be out of the country.
Okay. Oh.
So it'll be one of the guys over there in the country that I'm going to.
Which country?
We had that one, then looking to have one more in December as well.
Well. So a fight in a different country and another one in December. Shut the front door. That weren't on my Wilder bingo card, but there we go anyway. So yes, he returns this Saturday night against the formidable Tyrell Anthony Hardon. Yeah, I know, me neither. And well, it's been almost a year to the day since he was last in the ring with Silit Bang, and we all know what happened in that fight. He just didn't make any impact whatsoever on Big Bang. He looked tentative, he looked ungainly, and almost like he was scared to throw. He certainly couldn't pull the trigger like he could in the old days, that's for sure. However, in hindsight, it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to lose that fight because the man who usually bowls around shouting till this day and begging for a body on his record was talking like a modest, defeated shell of himself the night before he got in the ring.
This could be the do-or-die moment for me. I've been so many different places. Boxing have took me around the world. It's been great to me. So, this could be the very end if all don't go well for me. But I'm very confident in what I'm going to do Saturday night.
Yep, so there we are. And I know, we're all thinking the same thing, ain't we? What the fucking hell did he swallow in that rainforest? I mean, I have no idea what ayahuasca does or what it is. Apparently it's like DMT or something, which is a psychedelic thingy-majiggy. It gets you all completely sponged out and you think you're riding unicorns and eating fucking clouds. I don't know, but I do know one thing. Apparently it turns former nutty body on record fellas into great big softies. Now, after he emerged from the forest to fight Parker, he was a very happy bunny, to be honest. He was talking about how much of a good place he was in, but as it turns out, since then, according to recent interviews, he's had a bit of aggro behind the scenes, a little bit of domestic in the private life, and it just so happened the Zhang fight coincided within all this. Don't get me wrong, the man has always got an excuse when he loses. However, now he reckons he's back in that good space and all this hunky-dory. He's had help from a psychologist, he's filled in all the cracks, and he's ready to unveil to the world Deontay Wilder 2.0. or 3.0, or it might be fucking 4.0, fuck knows. I mean, outside of one measly round with Hellenius in 2022, he hasn't actually won a fight against a top 20 contender in a whopping 6 long years. In fact, there is an argument to say he's only beat one top 20 contender in his whole career, to be honest. Okay, hold up, sorry Wilder fans, but I'm just stating some facts for you, bruv. The ayahuasca stuff may have softened him up in recent years, but ultimately, we'll never quite know how good he actually was because he never fought enough top 10, top 20 opponents whilst he was in his prime. Anyway, we've covered all that already, but yes, who is Tyrell Anthony Hardon, you may ask? Well, first of all, he's quite a big fan of the Bronze Bomber. He might not be after the fight when his head's fucking falling off, but secondly, he comes in with a record of 24-5. However, of course, none of the wins were against any familiar names. The losses, on the other hand, tell a bit of a story about why he's in the opposite corner to the Bomber. Having been knocked out in one round by F.A. Ajagba, knocked out in 2 rounds by Richard Torres Jr., knocked out in 1 round by a journeyman called Corey Barlow, and 3 rounds by another journeyman called Snyder, and then he was disqualified against cruiserweight Brandon Glanton. So on paper, it looks alright, but in reality, Team Wilder have chosen a tailor-made opponent who obviously gets hit quite easily, who seems to get knocked out early against better fighters, and all in all, doesn't really pose much of a threat. No offence to Hardon. But then again, to be totally honest, this is business as usual for Deontay. It's like we've gone back a decade to when he was fighting this calibre of opponent all the bloody time. I do think he's a bit of a liberty, because imagine if Joshua fought someone like this for a bounce back fight, he'd get fucking hammered. But fair dues, in a business sense, I suppose it makes absolutely perfect sense. Old Wilder goes in there and sparks him out within a few rounds at most. He gains back some confidence in that right hand, and he can say to the world, look everyone, the Bronze Bomber is back, let me have a big money fight for my last roll of the dice. Anthony Joshua, what are you saying? I mean, this is obviously all Shelley Finkel's handiwork once again, but you know what, to be honest, I've got to tip my hat to him really. Shelley has been genius orchestrating this man's career, and for him to become world champion and make the kind of money he has made, I suppose you got to say fair play. I don't agree with it, but ultimately, money is the aim of the game. Now personally, I've always thought the boxing world is quite harsh when it comes to saying fighters should retire. It seems to be one loss these days and everyone goes, oh, have a look, he's finished, hang him up bruv, call it a day. But in the case of Wilder after the Zhang fight, even I was saying enough is enough, not just because it was a bad performance, but because of the way he was talking. All this defeatist attitude, mentioning about losing, you just can't be talking like that when you're fighting someone at the top of the game. And you know, even though he's talking about a big return, in my pointless opinion, I still feel the same now. I just don't understand the reason for this comeback fight. I mean, it's not even a comeback fight, let's be honest, it's actually a rebuild fight. This is a replica of Anthony Joshua rebuilding through Jermaine Franklin a couple of years ago, only in this case the opponent is levels and levels below Franklin. So trying to rebuild at the age of 39, when you haven't won a real fight since 2019, when you've been working with your trainer Malik Scott since around 2020 and you still haven't seen any improvements whatsoever, plus your desire for the game has been questionable, I don't know really, I just would have thought having come out the other side of this brutal sport with his health intact along with a boatload of money in the bank, it would have been the perfect time to call it a day. But hey ho, there we are. Each to their own, innit? I mean, it matters absolutely fuck all what I think. So, yeah, I suppose ultimately, good luck to you, Mr. Bomber. Go and prove me and the naysayers wrong. I'll be the first to hold my hands up. Anyway, yes, guaranteed we are going to see some Bomb Squad magic Saturday night. However, does that mean he can stroll back in and hang amongst the big boys around nowadays? Well, who knows? But I know one thing, there's only one man for him after this victory. It's a fight outside of his native country, as he alluded to earlier, the fight we have been starved of for so many years now, but finally the stars are aligning. Deontay Wilder versus Dave Allen. Oh, wouldn't it be a thing of beauty? I'm telling you now, Dave gives him absolute nightmares. I mean, he's got a blinding chin, he's tough as can be, and it turns out he's putting some lovely combinations together these days. The man is a seriously dark horse. What a legend. However, let's come back to reality. Wilder is never fighting Dave as long as he's got a hole in his arse. So, of course, we've got to be looking at AJ for Wilder amongst one of these fights he's talking about, but for old David, it looks like a little spot against Jamie TKV has opened up, and that seems to be the obvious route next, because lo and behold, David Adelaide, who promised a TKV rematch to end all the controversy of last time, has now longed it off to instead fight the former boogeyman of the division, Filip Hrgović, on the Moses Ituma Dillian Whyte undercard. Very, very interesting. But just quickly before we get to the rest of the vid, have a look. Dasny are offering some blinding little bundles for the big fights up and coming over the next month or so. You can get the monumental Usyk vs Dubious Undisputed, or you can get the big fat ring card number 3 with Belanga vs Shiraz and Shakur Stevenson. Get one of them bunched in with the Jake Paul fight this weekend, which has a very decent undercard on it as well, for a cheeky little 20% off. If you fancy it, choose the bundle that suits you. My link is in the comments. Lovely stuff. Now, where were we? Yes, so it's a very ballsy move for David Adelaide, so fair play to him for that. Now, I'll be honest, personally, I can't quite see it ending too well for him. You know, considering losing to Fabio, then getting outboxed by TKV last time out before the knockout, and let's have it right, losing to Sokolowski as well, but getting a little gift decision that night. In my eyes, it don't really bode well against a very skillful, experienced world level / fringe world level operator in Hrgović. Yes, he's got his flaws. Yes, Adelaide has got some power, and Filip doesn't really move his head. On top of that, he can be a bit lazy, and he gets disinterested from time to time, but to be fair, he has got quite a good chin. He has got levels and levels of experience outweighing Adelaide as well, and now that he's working with Abel Sanchez, who previously trained Golovkin up in Big Bear, there's a chance we'll see a much more durable Hrgović than we did before. So it's a very tough fight, but you've got to give big respect to David. Hopefully it will be a cracker, and hopefully there's another cracker on that card in Moses Ituma vs Dillian Whyte. Deal me in. So after I put out my video last week, the fight was then officially announced, and would you believe it, not only were the rumours true, but old Dillian Whyte has even succumbed to being the B-side fighter. Who'd have seen that one coming? He must be getting absolutely weighed in, the big old Brixton boy. But anyway, what really is quite a madness is that nobody, absolutely nobody, is expecting Dillian to win this fight. It feels quite strange knowing that this man beat Parker and fought Fury for a world title, yet he's not given a hope against a 20-year-old prospect. So it does pose the question, is the hype around Moses Ituma really truly justified? Well, I suppose we're about to find out. I mean, to be fair though, this ain't some random fighter who sprung up out of nowhere and started knocking people out. He was actually sparring and holding his own against the likes of AJ, Joe Joyce, Lawrence Okoli and more from the age of just 14 years old. I mean, think how mental that is. Imagine a 14-year-old being able to compete with a professional heavyweight boxer. And yes, the destruction path he's been on lately has been so pleasing to the eye. Unbelievable speed, great angles and of course lethal power. He's clearly got all the tools, we just need to know how good his chin is and how big his heart is, which guaranteed is going to come sooner or later. Also, we do need to know how he's going to react when he's finally in a fight that is not going his way. Will he just give up and get frustrated, or will he have that Fabio Wardley mentality we saw the other day, grit and determination to find a way to win no matter what? That'll be a real telltale factor as well. Anyway, yes, poor old Dillian. Look at the odds. The bookies are not even giving him a prayer, but maybe the odds would have been more in his favour had he fought the man who's been calling his name out loud and clear for a very long while now, and he's getting a bit cheeky with it as well, Mr. Lawrence Okoli, who now fights the present day gatekeeper Kevin Lerena instead. So you would have thought that the WBC #1 heavyweight contender would be fighting, I don't know, maybe the WBC #2 contender, or maybe #3, but instead he fights old Kevin, who's actually not in any rankings. Okay, not quite sure about that, but rant over. Having said that, I do think it's actually quite an intriguing fight. Old Lerena gave Danny Boy problems, he gave Hooney problems, and he's a southpaw with a nice bit of power. The problem he's got, however, is that Okoli's arms are about as long as the whole of his fucking body. Being a smaller heavyweight, he's probably going to have trouble getting into range, and on the flip side, Okoli's going to have plenty of opportunity to pick him off from distance. So yes, it's not a great style for Lerena, but it should tell us quite a lot of what we need to know about how Okoli's going to fare when he dips his toes into the top 10. And just like Wilder, it's clever matchmaking really, because it'll be a decent scout for Okoli's second fight in the Glamour division, and there's a good chance that he can look very good whilst doing it. Let's just hope we see a fight though, and Nicole doesn't go hugging his tits off like he used to. Fucking hell. Hopefully Joe Gallagher has drummed that out of him nowadays and he can give us a little barnstormer. Bring it on. Anyway, don't forget to get yourself over to Dozen and get yourself a cheeky little bundle. Link below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.